So today we're comparing 3 different cars. This one has the most basic tint. It's a 1-ply plastic film. It's not designed to block out any heat. And this BMW here, it has an entry-level ceramic. It does help quite a bit of heat rejection, but not the best. And with this Tesla Model 3, we have the most high-end ceramic film on the market, and this is going to provide the most heat rejection. So we're going to use this BTU meter to measure the differences on the side windows and the front windshield and how much heat is coming through the glass. When we point a BTU meter in the sun, it typically measures a little bit over 300 BTU units. And we come over here, it blocks about 200 BTUs, just the glass. And for on the side windows, it go down to 72. And on this BMW, also it does not have the front windshield tint. So we're gonna expect very similar numbers, 119 roughly. And the side window does have an entry-level ceramic tint, so going from 300 to 27, much better improvement from the other non-ceramic tint, about 3 times better. I think that was mid-70, this is mid-20. And this Model 3 Performance, we have our high-end ceramic tint that we offer here. The windshield is tinted 11 BTU, and for the side windows, about the same amount.
So in this test, we're using infrared meter. The infrared meter measures that thing that makes you so uncomfortable while you're driving. It's the sun, it's what makes the cabin feel so stuffy, and by having a good tint on your car, you can actually block out a lot of the IR. So if we put this over the window, we can see that we're blocking out 70% of IR on the full spectrum. That 780 to 1700 is 1700 nanometers. Again, that is the full gambit of the spectrum. So again, for context, that is the very entry-level tint. There is no ceramic, and it just isn't going to block out a lot for you. Moving on to this is where we have our entry-level ceramic. So putting that down, we can see that we're blocking out 91% of IR. That is a significant jump from the 70%. And honestly, I mean, that's kind of all you need to see for at least comfort on your own personal car. Again, this is what makes you so uncomfortable while you're driving. It's the heat, it's the sun that you feel on your arms. Having a nice tint is gonna help you so much in just making your drive more bearable. And last but not least, this is the high end. This is, you know, the pinnacle of tint, really. This is the best grade ceramic that we have, and this is what's gonna block out the most IR. So as we can see, on the STI, we went from 70% IR blocked out. On the BMW, we had 91% IR blocked out. And on this guy, we have as much as 97, which again, should speak for itself. It's the sun, it's all that heat that you feel on you while you're driving and sitting in traffic, and you're just baking. You're baking in your own car. So in this test, this is actually gonna be the more basic of all the tests. This is just touch points. So, you know, whenever you get into your car, what do you have to touch anyway? Your shift knob, your steering wheel, your seat. So coming into the car, this is again with no tint on the windshield, and this is really just how much of a dramatic difference it makes. Taking a look at the temps coming off the steering wheel, we're at about like 101, 104. So obviously it's very toasty. Taking a look at the seats, and this is where your back is going to be resting while you're driving, we're at about 120. That's extremely uncomfortable. Moving on to this car, this is the one with the mid-tier tint. This is ceramic, but an entry level. If we take a look at the steering wheel, we're showing about 108, 116. Again, very hot. You know, this is stuff that you have to touch while you're driving. And if we want to take a look at the seats, again, this is where your back is going to be resting while you're driving, getting into the car for the first time. That's about 145. And, you know, until the AC really gets going, you're probably gonna be wildly uncomfortable for a bit. And last but not least, this is going to be the car with ceramic tint all around, including the front windshield. So, first touch point that we wanna take a look at is the steering wheel. And that is at a much cooler 102, 101. 100 dropping down to 99, as low as 99. And now if we want to take a look at the seats, again, this is the first thing that you're gonna touch when you get into the car. This is your back immediately on the chair. And it's showing about 95. Honestly, that's way better, way more comfortable. And keep in mind, it's facing the sun directly. It's been baking for probably the last like 20, 30 minutes. Getting back to it, we did actually just take off the tint. So again, we had that very, very basic, very entry-level tint on the car. And now we're gonna be able to take a look at just how much IR is coming through without the tint. So still 30. It's still blocking out 70% of IR, which means that the tint that was also doing 70% of IR is doing nothing. That was all just glass. All right, so now what we're doing is the black bag method. When you buy tint, you really do get what you pay for. So if it's super cheap and it all comes off in multiple pieces, that's where you run into a little bit of danger with the defroster. Right now we're peeling it off, but we want it all to come off together because otherwise you're gonna have to scrape it. And if you scrape it, you could mess up the little defrosting lines on your back windshield.
It's all coming off good. There's no glue left behind.
Yeah.
That's what we want. If the tint start failing, which the different layers start separating, if you cannot get to the plastic layer and get all the way down to the glue layer, you will risk messing up the defroster. But right now we were able to get all the layer of the film off as well as the glue off. Because this is cheap tint and it's prone to fail within 1 or 2 years, if it waited any longer, he might have to replace the entire windshield or driving around without a defroster.
If we would have just kept on the same exact tint, it could have started bubbling in about a year. You would have had discoloration in about a year. A lot of reasons to go to ceramic.
We're good.
Tight.
Everything looks good.
That's insane. Coming back from actually having the tint applied, front windshield done, now we're actually gonna test again the steering wheel and the seats. Just wanna see the difference between how much sun was making it in before, how much is making it in now. So, just comparing the heat now, we're at about 94, 98, which is a significant drop. And then coming again to that major touch point of the seat, I wanna make sure we're getting the actual leather. Yeah, that's crazy. It dropped down like a whole, what was it, 20, 40? And rerunning the first test that we did, the BTU, pointing this directly at the sun, we're getting about 300. Oh, there we go. Yeah, 308. Yeah, so it's toasty. And we come down, we go through the windshield straight at the sun, getting like 13, which is a massive drop off. I think we were at like 100 before. And again, same test, wanna take a look at the driver window, directly at the sun. It's like 303, 304. That's bananas.
So you guys saw what the before the number was and now after the high-end ceramic tint. It's reading two numbers. So on the top, it's the full spectrum of the infrared and it's blocking out 96% of infrared heat, letting only 3 to 4% coming through. And at the select spectrum, which is where most of the heat come through for this car, it's at 2% coming through, which is blocking out 98% of infrared heat.
I mean, all in all, I just genuinely couldn't be happier with working with the entire Tint World team. I mean, the car came out insane. The windows look phenomenal. They are perfectly cut because obviously everything's done by the machine. They were flawlessly placed in like record time. I was genuinely on my phone for like 5 minutes and then the car was done. You really can't ask for much more in just getting a service done for you like that. And there really isn't much of an option for like another company to work with. I knew the results that I got on my 86 were perfect, genuinely perfect, and I wasn't gonna risk that going to another company. I had to come back, and I mean, this time I think the service even went like more above and beyond than, you know, just discussing the paint issues that I had with the 86. And now, this is like the most hands-on, personable, and just, I don't know, professional experience you could ever ask for with getting your car tinted. I mean, again, it's the automotive world, so like, you know, everyone's just an enthusiast at the end of the day, but it's cool to also work with a company that like is good at what they do. Obviously, a lot of people throw on tint, but when you throw on good tint and you do it well and you do it, you know, quickly, that's appreciated. What more could you really ask for?